Welcome to Contemporary Retirement. Contemporary Retirement is a public interest program focused on the retirement community. Every program has segments on legal, financial, and health issues affecting the retirement community. Contemporary Retirement is sponsored in part by a major grant from the Family Heritage Trust Company.
Contemporary Retirement is sponsored by Family Heritage Trust Company. The Family Heritage Trust Company is an independent bank chartered trust company established by local professionals to provide fiduciary services, including fee-based investment advice, trust services, retirement planning, and tax planning. The Family Heritage Trust Company is committed to client service in our communities. For more information, call the Family Heritage Trust Company at 301-631-5900.
Contemporary Retirement is sponsored in part by a grant from R. Thomas Murphy & Associates, P.C. R. Thomas Murphy & Associates is one of Franklin County's leading law firms, emphasizing estate, trust, elder law, and medical assistance planning.
Welcome to the Is It Legal feature on Contemporary Retirement. Is It Legal focuses on the legal issues affecting the retirement community. With me today is Tom Murphy from the R. Thomas Murphy Law Firm with offices Waynesboro, Chambersburg, and McConnellsburg. Welcome to the show, Tom.
Good morning.
Tom, we've made a decision to do a little crosshairs the nursing home long-term care industry because of the fact that we're seeing just an incredible push by these organizations, in our opinion, to mislead the public about what their options are.
Absolutely. I mean, if they know that there are rules to protect both married couples and singles and they fail to bring that up, that silence is deadly for these families.
You know, so when you deal in a married couple environment in which the law is actually designed to protect a healthy spouse, you know, people don't realize that. They hear single person rules where there are liens on houses, but the law is actually designed to protect a healthy spouse. In your career, have you ever seen a nursing home do an optimum plan for a married couple?
Never.
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 It's not going to happen.
Never
They are
will.
not qualified to do it. There are a lot of sophisticated things that have to occur during that process, and they are totally unqualified to execute that plan.
Right, and even if they knew and were qualified, they're not motivated to do it because of the profit side of things.
Well, and one of the things that we have to deal with here every day, there is no question that doing a Medicaid plan, not just meeting with a family, getting some documents prepared and so forth, that's just a normal legal charge. Dealing with a Medicaid case is a 5-year audit of every financial transaction that family has entered into, with this government going through it with a microscope, trying to see if you tripped up and made any mistakes, and we have to prepare for that eventuality. We're not in business to charge fees. We're in business to add value.
Well, absolutely, and when you're under that scrutiny, the state's looking for a reason not to pay that $10,000 a month bill. And so if you don't go into it with the idea that you have to be on the defensive and prove your eligibility, you're going to be denied.
But you've just hit on the optimum reason for why you do this. You know, we have a married couple comes in. Many times they're only 6 weeks away from eligibility, not paying $10,000 a month for months or years on end, but they have to jump through some hoops. And yes, engaging a lawyer is a part of that process because only lawyers are qualified to do sophisticated Medicaid planning. But on the other hand, our fees are dwarfed by the costs that they will pay that they would not have otherwise had to pay.
Exactly, and people are shocked that they are able to protect everything and not spend that money. And that, you know, is very important for that community spouse at home who's thinking that they're going to be on the street if they have to keep paying all this money out.
And yet these people, you know, we've talked about it, you know, the government's not going to tell you how to do it. I've never seen the government do a sophisticated Medicaid plan yet for anybody. Have you?
Oh, never. Not at all. They never
We have
will.
hospital discharge planners saying there's nothing that you can do but spend down, meaning you must give it to the nursing home. Absolutely not true.
Exactly. I mean, these rules are designed to protect married couples and even in single people cases. I mean, there are things that can be done to protect assets and protect the welfare of that person.
And then nursing homes will just sit there and say, well, there's nothing you can do. You must spend down your money. You must give it to us. Don't waste any money on a lawyer because it isn't going to help. And I always point out to people, if the nursing home did it for free, at the end of the day, in a single person case, you have $2,500. If we did the case and accomplished absolutely nothing, which would not be what we would be engaged to do, you would still have $2,500. It didn't cost anything in that context. So they're giving you a statement that sounds like it's a bargain for you, but in reality, it's accomplishing nothing.
Yeah, you're being conned into spending your money, and that delay while you're not sure what to do is costing you $400 a day in some cases.
Well, you know, and you're looking at this stuff, and if you are buying a product from somebody and you know they're making a significant commission on the sale of that product, you're very circumspect when they only give you a single answer. Well, you need to understand that when that admissions person working for the nursing home is talking to you, they have an economic incentive for you to come to a single answer, which is their answer. You don't need anybody. We're going to protect everything. You should be suspicious.
Well, absolutely. If you were going out and buying what essentially is a used car every month at 10 grand, you would do a little shopping. You would do some research, and that's what you need to do in the nursing home world.
And what we tell people every day, I don't care what you're being told. Whether it's friends, neighbors, relatives, institutions, discharge planners, when you're being told you have no options, that statement is just absolutely not true. In every circumstance, there are options, and you need to understand what those options are. So when anybody tells you there's no options, they're not telling you the truth.
Yeah, and unfortunately, it happens a lot with people with very well-meaning folks, but the reality is there's always options, and you need to get the full scoop.
Highly qualified elder law attorneys, National Academy of Elder Law Attorneys website, naela.org, and you and I are board certified along with your associate Jared,
Sure.
And that's really the gold standard.
Yeah, they do it every day, and so that's where you need to go.
Tom, as always, thanks for taking time to appear on the program.
You're welcome.
More from Contemporary Retirement after these messages.
Few things in life are as important as family. Leave your insurance worries to us. Write Gardner. Call or visit our website to learn how we can make insurance simple and more affordable.
Every life that meets its end leaves a heart for love to mend. Sister, brother, family, friends are left to carry on. When the loss seems more than you can bear, it's nice to know that we'll be there at Douglas A. Fiery Funeral Home. We care.
Call Ed Lowe to help put your mind at ease.
Welcome to the special guest feature on Contemporary Retirement. This segment focuses on various issues which are of importance to the retirement community. My guest today, my favorite guest, my wife, Elizabeth Day, President of the Frederick County Community Foundation. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
President of the Community Foundation, I know that over the last 25 years or so, you and I have been very active in trying to educate the public on why should a community foundation exist.
That's correct. Community foundations are important. We gather contributions from the community to place into endowment funds. Those endowment funds provide grants and scholarships back into the community in perpetuity. We all know perpetuity is a long, long time.
Well, one of the issues here is many people, they live their lives not spending more than they make. And so the Community Foundation allows them to create a private endowment that their money's used the same way they used it during life.
Two reasons why people like community foundations are local and legacy. We are locally owned and operated, so to speak, with local volunteers governing the organization. And the legacy is that these funds go on forever.
One of the things we want to emphasize while you're the president of the Frederick County Community Foundation, every community in our viewing area has a community foundation supporting it.
That's correct. And each community foundation takes the shape and culture of its community. While we're all the same, focused on building permanent endowment, we all award grants and scholarships, trying to meet the needs within our individual communities.
And probably the single most important aspect of a community foundation is referred to as donor-driven. What the heck does that mean?
Well, donor-driven means that when a donor comes to us, we're interested in fulfilling their charitable intentions. And some of our community foundations in your viewing area have strategic initiatives, such as in Frederick County, our strategic initiatives are in services to the newly homeless and precariously housed, access to health care, and in school readiness. But those priority areas might be different in Pennsylvania, Western Maryland, or Virginia, West Virginia.
And in no way would you limit a donor to have to do those things, but if a donor comes to you, which many times happens where they have really no specific desire for the money other than to benefit the community, that might be a priority.
That may be a priority. One of the things we talk with our donors about is making sure that not only are their needs are fulfilled, their charitable needs, but also community needs are fulfilled. And one of the ways we do that is at the Community Foundation's providing leadership. And we try to keep our finger on the pulse of what's happening in the community. Needs change over the course of time. Who would have thought, here we are in 2017 having an opioid epidemic. We never would have thought about that 10 to 15 years ago. So sometimes when donors have no clear charitable intention, we talk with them about trying to meet current community needs as may change from time to time.
As evidenced by downtown Frederick. 40 years ago, downtown Frederick was not a very desirable place. If you'd created a fund solely for that purpose, it probably isn't necessary today.
Well, we do have funds that support Downtown Frederick Partnership and other activities that support downtown, because we can't take for granted the vitality of our downtown community, and we can't take for granted that things will remain the same.
And so as they evolve, part of what you grant, those grants or the plans, are so that they could evolve to differing needs.
That's correct. And we try to be nimble. We talk about that word a lot because sometimes our donors need to trust us that the way that we will use their funds will be according to their intentions, but also after their demise, things may change in ways that we never would have thought.
You and I had involvement many years ago for Iron Lung Fund.
That was quite the conversation because, 40, 50 years ago, the method of treatment was iron lung machines, and now that would be more of a torture than a treatment. So community foundations have that flexibility where the intention is still to help people with respiratory illness, but not necessarily to provide that medium of therapy.
And probably the most important aspect of it, this is not some invisible group of people managing it. Tell us who manages the Community Foundation.
Well, the Community Foundation is run by a group in Frederick County. We have 24 volunteers, and those volunteers serve on various committees. They hire the staff. They hire me to run the day-to-day operations. They establish policy, and the staff then implements that policy. We are locally owned and operated.
And it's constantly changing.
Constantly changing. At the Community Foundation of Frederick County, our Board of Trustees term is about 6 years, 2 consecutive 3-year terms. We're always looking for new blood.
So there's been a lot of people involved. You're always looking for people to be involved, and most importantly, fulfilling donor intent.
Once a volunteer trustee, always a trustee.
Betsy, thanks for taking time to appear on our program.
Thanks for having me.
More from Contemporary Retirement after these messages.
Tranquillity at Fredericktown Assisted Living and Memory Care provides a warm, home-like atmosphere that promotes daily life enrichment. At Tranquillity, our medical director is a geriatric physician. Our professionals support and understand the various stages associated with Alzheimer's and dementia. We have on-site physical, occupational, and speech therapists, as well as around-the-clock licensed nurses. For more information, give Tranquillity at Fredericktown a call today, because everyone deserves great care. Let us do the caregiving so you and your loved one can embrace life again.
Guys, I thought you were supposed to be working in the yard.
But Dad, just one more bid on HurleyAuctions.com.
If you haven't visited HurleyAuctions.com, you don't know what you're missing. Whether you're buying or selling, antique cars, tractors, boats, or real estate, you can do it all at HurleyAuctions.com.
Get to know Dr. Carrie Hesley at Diagnostic Imaging Services.
What I find most rewarding is caring for women through our Women's Imaging Center. We have a caring staff that will ease patients through an ultrasound, bone densitometry, breast biopsy, or mammogram. Our health team is sensitive to emotions involved in women's imaging and understands that every woman is at risk for breast cancer. Providing the community with a center that is so dedicated to breast health and the imaging needs of women is something special.
DIS Women's Imaging Center, providing women with progressive care.
Welcome to Contemporary Health Scene. Contemporary Health Scene focuses on the health issues affecting the retirement community. With me today is Bridget Keefe, Community Relations Director of Tranquillity of Fredericktown. Welcome to the show, Bridget.
Thanks for having me, Mike.
You know, Bridget, we deal with a lot of misconceptions involving the care spectrum, and probably the single biggest misconception is that assisted living costs the same as a nursing home.
That is the biggest, you're right. And when in fact, we probably cost a good third or more less than a nursing home, private pay.
Right. And part of what you're looking at here is that people think being in their own home with no car is independent.
Right. And in fact, you and I have talked before about how that's really like a prison. And assisted living gives you a chance to live your life, get out, re-engage with your friends and your community. Again, all for a third of the cost of skilled nursing.
And what people need to understand, the assisted living model is going to expand, and there's a very important reason for it. The government is trying to get out of the nursing home business. They cannot throw out the sickest of sick, but what they have done is dramatically expand the service model that is permitted in assisted living. So even people that took a family member and talked to somebody 5 years ago need to revisit the topic. They have no idea of the changes in that time.
They do. We have been, our licensure has been expanded by the state because, you know, most people now have advanced directives. Most people don't want a feeding tube at the end of life. Most people don't want to be put on a ventilator. And those are the kind of things that would land you in a nursing home before. But nowadays, we work with hospice at the end of life, and hospice helps us give even more advanced care, so no one needs that kind of thing.
Well, and part of it used to be in the past, if a person had, needed a two-person assist once in a while, that was an auto reject from assisted living.
Right, and nowadays, as long as the person's not 500 pounds, our two people can assist them.
Not on every moment of the day
right.
basis, but you can deal with that. In the past, if you had a feeding tube, that was automatically a ticket to the nursing home.
Right, and now we take them, but we definitely take them under advisement and look at every case differently.
And part of it is that today assisted livings, have 7x24 high-level medical supervision with licensed people within the building.
We do. We have RNs, which are registered nurses. Then we have LPNs, that's a licensed practical nurse. We have licensed and trained med techs who dispense all the medication. And then we have caregivers, mostly whom are CNAs or GNAs, doing the 24-hour care.
And one of the great changes that's occurred, 15 years ago, assisted living in Maryland was not licensed, yet today there is licensure and supervision by the regulators.
We are licensed and supervised by the Department of Health and Mental Hygiene.
So the cares are much higher levels of care, but it doesn't mean that every person in that assisted living looks like they need to be in a nursing home. In fact, it's the contrary.
Yeah, most of our people look healthy, vibrant, and able to walk on their own, and they are. And I think living with us, some of them have lived with us for 4 or 5 years, living with us has really prevented them ending up in the nursing home.
Well, because obviously if you have a fall at home and you're unattended for quite some period of time, that's going to be a very significant health event. Whereas on the other hand, if you're attended to immediately, it may not be nearly as serious an event.
Correct.
And of course, we all know as we work in this industry that keeping a person stimulated improves outcomes in the long run. It might delay the further advancing of dementia. It's never going to stop it, but it might keep them active, keep them engaged. Is agreed that that's better for them than letting them sit watching television all day.
Right. Going out with a group to Dutch's daughter is going to be much more fun than sitting by yourself falling asleep in front of Fox News.
And of course, you have menu selections mentioning the restaurant.
We do. We've got many different restaurants we go to, and we also have restaurant-style dining within our community. So there's always a choice.
Cocktail hour?
Cocktail hour, yes. Our official cocktail hour starts at around 3, but we've heard on the down low that there's others that start at like 2 o'clock. So.
And so it's not designed to deprive you of freedom,
No,
it's designed to maximize.
It's designed to maximize.
Bridget, as always, how can they get a hold of you?
They can get a hold of me by calling me at 301-668-6030, or they can pop in. We're right at Jefferson Pike between the Seventh-day Adventist Sunday School.
Bridget, as always, thanks for taking time to appear on our program.
Thank you, Mike.
More from Contemporary Retirement after these messages.
The Community Foundation has helped create signs of community strength for more than 30 years. Scholarships assist with post-secondary education, and grants support programs throughout Frederick County. Making a big impact. Because of generous donors like you. Add your sign of community strength by creating a fund that supports the causes you care about.
Albright, Crumbacker, Moul, and Itell are a full-service firm that provides elder care services, including managing incoming bills, bill payment, depositing checks, balancing bank statements, and preparing, planning, and filing personal tax returns. Put your mind at ease and call us today.
Welcome to the Making Sense feature on Contemporary Retirement. Making Sense focuses on the financial issues affecting the retirement community. With me today is Pete Alexander, a partner in the regional accounting firm of Albright, Crumbacker, Moul, and Itell, with offices in Hagerstown and Martinsburg. Welcome to the show, Pete.
Great to be here, Mike.
Right out of the gate, I know your firm is based in Hagerstown and Martinsburg, but can you do tax returns across the country?
Yeah, we pretty much do tax returns in all 50 states. I mean, of course, a lot of us snowbirds are down in Florida, Virginia, on further south. We have people in Hawaii. We have people out in Vegas, another tax-free state, people in Texas. So we have, because businesses go in all states nowadays, we have people in all states, and then retirees are either heading where it's warm or heading where the tax rate's a little less.
And of course, you know, you got 4 states and 20 miles here, so you have to be able to do all 4 states.
Yeah, we've always talked in the firm it'd be nice to be located in the middle of Texas instead of right where we're at, because then you know you only have one state.
I don't know, one of the questions we always talk about, when is tax season? Is tax season beginning February 1st when you have your W-2s and 1099s, or when does it actually occur?
Yeah, most people do. That's when they view tax season is somewhere in February, March, and April. And we kind of view tax season as being year-round, not just because we're lonely and you want us to visit, we want you to visit, but because the things that happen have to happen by December 31st. So if you're listening today, your tax season should be starting right now. You should be focusing on your tax, because once we get to December 31st, other than IRAs, medical savings accounts, a few minor things, there's nothing we can do once we cross that Rubicon that will affect 2017.
All right, let's talk about some of the common misconceptions that we try to work with families to help them understand. Number one, the asset that you're never supposed to touch is your IRA account.
Yeah, that's the rule of thumb. And like most rules of thumb, they are accurate most of the time. The problem is they're not accurate all the time. As we've talked about on previous shows, IRA accounts, when you pull them out, traditional IRAs, 401ks that have rolled over into IRAs, that money is going to create taxable income for whoever pulls it out. So unlike a lot of other assets, when you leave it to your heirs, they get to inherit those assets and sell them without an income tax. An IRA, either you're going to pull it out and it's going to increase your taxable income, or your heirs are going to pull it out and it's going to increase their taxable income, which is going to force them to pay tax.
And one of the things that people need to not lose sight of, a rollover is not a tax-free distribution, it is a tax deferral.
Yes, when you put money in, other than Roth IRAs and some things like that, when you put money into an IRA or you put money into your 401k, you are deferring the tax. There's nothing tax-free about it. You're deferring the tax till a later time, and at that later time, the IRS says at age 70 and a half, you must start pulling the money out, but they will let you continue to defer it until 70 and a half.
But if mom had money in a traditional savings account, assuming that she wasn't taxable, which the vast, vast majority of the states that we deal with are not taxable, that child could inherit that money tax-free.
Yeah, money in a traditional savings account, money in stocks and bonds that are not inside an IRA, real estate that are not inside an IRA. All those things that are not inside an IRA, a child can inherit tax-free. But IRAs and interest on U.S. bonds. Those items, when a child inherits them, those items your parents elected to defer the tax. Therefore, they elected to defer the tax. When you get that money, you must pay tax on it at whatever your ordinary tax rate is.
And one of the problems is that ordinary income accelerates rates, so the higher the amount, the more the tax is. And this becomes really an issue, though. You have mom who's collecting Social Security only. She has a fairly substantial rollover IRA from her husband, a very typical set of facts, and her tax bracket is, people are quite surprised many times, 0.
Yes.
But she has that super successful child whose tax rate is 25–30%.
Yeah, and what happens is if she doesn't get that money out of her tax bracket, and remember, she has some, even after she gets out of 0, she has some money that will only be taxed at 10%, around $6,000 more. She's got another $30-some thousand that's only going to be taxed at 15%. So she has the ability to pull money out at very low tax rates, whereas if she leaves that money to her successful child, they could quite possibly be paying upwards of 39.6, let's call it 40%, federal tax rate.
So you look at that $100,000, mom pays at most 10% on taking that out, but her child pays 40% taking it out. So the reality is she just made a $30,000 gift to the federal government.
Right, so she's going to want to, if she's aware of this, she's going to want to begin to pull that money out. She doesn't pull it all out in 1 year because that puts her in a higher tax bracket, but she begins working with her accountant. She begins to pull that money out each year to minimize the taxes that are eventually going to have to be paid.
Have to be paid.
Must be paid.
Pete, as always, thanks for taking time to appear on the program.
Great to be here, Mike.
Thank you from Contemporary Retirement.
Remember a more carefree time? Leave your insurance worries to us, Wright Gardner. Call or visit our website to learn how we can make insurance simple and more affordable.
These days, it seems like everything's online, and filling out claim forms and receiving and paying bills online isn't always easiest. That's why we at Quality First Insurance encourage you to just give us a call. Let us help.
Hi there, I'm Paul Sweeney with Quality First Insurance, and it's still just as simple. Our offices are open every weekday where you'll be able to call and speak to real, live people.
No detail was missed. I'm so glad that I turned to Quality First Insurance.
I've recommended Quality First Insurance to my friends who've been just as satisfied.
If you're not happy with what you're paying for Medigap, or more importantly, not happy with your service, give us a try. We're locally owned, and we take the time to provide you with the best. We are Quality First Insurance, and our mission is to provide quality products to quality people. Pick up the phone and give us a call today at 800-745-1411.